Michigan Magazine is kept on the road by our many Michigan friends. Cops and Donuts Bakery, downtown Clare, a winning combination. Cops and Donuts. The Cedar Tavern and Grill of Lupton, where friends come to meet friends and families come for delicious food and a wholesome atmosphere. Come relax with your favorite beverage or bring the crew for a great meal and live entertainment. It's happening now at the Cedar of Lupton. Hale Hardware, your do-it center in Hale, Michigan. Much more than a regular hardware store, providing everything you need for whatever your project is, along with a knowledgeable sales staff to get her done. Serving Northern Michigan since 1946. Hale Hardware, south of M65 at Ainsley in Hale. This week on Michigan Magazine, we're talking food, from the Far East to out our own back door. First, we travel to Oscoda County to learn Far Eastern cooking, believe it or not, into the kitchen of Mayo resident Diana Ericson. She'll be whipping up some wonderful exotic dishes she's learned to cook in her culinary hobby of experimentation. It's delicious. Recipes you'll find in one of our Michigan Magazine cookbooks. Then we learn how Michigan is feeding the world through agriculture. Products produced on Michigan farms are sent not only to Far Eastern countries, but to our international neighbors to the north and south. We're going to visit a grain co-op in Michigan's Thumb, a co-op that's been bringing area farmers together to create a world market. It's all coming up on this week's Michigan Magazine. Cops and Donuts Bakery, downtown Clare, what began as a crazy idea among 9 police officers to purchase the historic Clare City Bakery quickly became an international phenomenon, carrying on a Michigan tradition with delicious donuts, pies, pastries, breads, original coffee, and more, plus a full menu at the new adjacent traffic stop diner. Downtown Clare, a winning combination. Cops and Donuts. It's back and making memories for a new generation. The Rustic Inn of Lewiston, now open to chase away those winter blues with hot, delicious food, your favorite beverage, and an atmosphere that'll keep you coming back to make new memories and new friends. The new Rustic Inn on Red Oak Road, just south of Lewiston. Today in Michigan Magazine, we encounter an adventure in culinary curiosity as we experience tastes of the Far East. From Michigan Magazine cooking enthusiast Diana Ericson of Mayo, Michigan. On this edition, we visit the kitchen of Diana as she shares with us some of the recipes she contributed to our Michigan Magazine Family and Friends Cookbook number 3. So get a paper and pencil and get ready to explore some Japanese and Vietnamese delicacies. Or grab your cookbook number 3 and turn to pages 22 and 23 and follow along. Diana, what's on today's menu?
The first recipe was steamed wontons, and it came from a buffet one time when I was at work. One of the gentlemen from Japan brought in these steamed wontons, and we all loved them. And so he put the recipe together for us, and he called them those stuffed thingies.
Stuffed thingies.
Yes.
But the official word, the correct stuffed thingies is what?
Is a steamed wonton.
Steamed wonton. And the nationality is what again?
Japan.
Japan. Okay. And the next thing is?
The next thing I'm going to make is spring rolls from Vietnam. A lot of people think of those as being egg rolls, but the difference between a spring roll and an egg roll is that it uses rice paper, and it's real light and delicate. And unlike Japanese egg rolls where there's a lot of vegetables and hardly any meat, the predominant ingredient in this is ground pork.
I see. So what should we prepare first here today?
Well, actually, we're going to start with the steamed wontons because those will sit on the steamer while we're preparing the spring rolls.
Okay, let's go over basically the ingredients first of all.
Okay, in steamed wontons, you need a package of wonton skins.
Okay.
You get them in your produce department.
Okay, at your favorite supermarket?
At your favorite supermarket.
And they're called one-ton wrappers.
Yep,
okay.
and they're real readily available, and they kind of look like egg roll skins.
Oh, look at there.
But they're square.
If you really want to get into it, you can do your own. But we suggest, if you want to appreciate it a little more and have the time to do
that's right.
So, you can get, okay.
Okay, and then you need a pound of ground pork, and not pork sausage, but just plain old ground pork, like you get at your grocery store.
Okay, wonton wrappers and ground pork. Okay.
You can add some shrimp in there. That's an optional thing. Some people, have shellfish allergies, so that's not a big deal.
Okay.
Take a can of water chestnuts.
Oh, those are some of my favorites because they're so crunchy.
And that's right. Chop them up and put them in there.
Okay.
We'll add a little water.
Okay.
A little cornstarch.
All right. We get these in line here and kind of.
And some pepper.
Pepper.
Right,
fresh ground?
Fresh ground.
All right.
Only kind to have.
Yes.
Some sugar.
Sugar? Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
And 1 egg.
Wonton wrappers, some ground pork, I should say, some chestnuts, and all the other goodies here, which of course will be in our Michigan Magazine Cookbook number 3. So if you don't get it as we're going along here today, you can of course get in our cookbook.
You just take your fresh pork, and this is Roughly a pound. So.
Okay. A pound of fresh ground pork.
And if you want put the shrimp, you'll put the shrimp in right now.
So the meat products you kind of mix together or something?
Right, you'll munch them all together.
All right.
So they're nicely blended.
Otter chestnuts drained and
then
rinsed.
we'll chop them.
Okay. You know, the best thing about a chestnut, a water chestnut, is just the texture. It adds a lot to it.
Right. There's not a lot of flavor to it, even when you buy like the fresh ones in the market. It's the texture that they add to your meal.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be real finely chopped. So you want to have some texture when you get there. If you chop them too finely,
Okay.
some more much.
Add to the meat mixture.
Add that to the meat mixture. Some green onion.
You did this before, I can tell.
Cooking is one of my 3 main hobbies.
Really?
So, yes.
Yeah. What's your favorite nationality, or is it just out
you know,
in the air?
There is no favorite nationality.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I don't have to eat the same thing 3 or 4 times a year. It's kind of an adventure, and I invite friends over who are willing to try things knowing that it might be an ingredient that if I told them what it was,
They wouldn't eat it?
they wouldn't eat it, but they'll eat it, and then
Then
they'll
you
be
can tell
glad
them
to hear.
surprise. Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Adventure in eating.
venture eating. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of soy sauce, and it's kind of like when you make meatloaf, enough to kind of hold it together, like think of it like ketchup type of thing.
Okay.
Some pepper.
Freshly ground.
And there's nothing like freshly ground pepper.
You bet.
Cornstarch kind of serves the same purpose in your meatloaf as a thickener. Kind of bind it all together. A couple tablespoons of sugar, and it just adds, kind of like in your spaghetti sauce, it kind of wakes up the flavor, and that's what that does in here.
And you're experimenting with foods. Have you run across one that you rather not try again, or is it just one
Yes.
that, yes, what was that? Just
It was Ethiopian, and the bread was more like a dried cellulose sponge. And after eating it, I thought, yeah. It was fun, it was interesting, but no, I wouldn't try that one again.
Yeah.
And, you know, part of it is developed taste. You know, opening up your palate, and it's a lot of times that people eat, for example, Chinese food, and they say, I really don't care for Chinese food. Sometimes if you eat in a different restaurant prepared by a different family, it's a little more, I don't say authentic to their region or to their family. And it's kind of like meatloaf, you know, nobody makes meatloaf like your mom does.
Right.
And that's the same thing with ethnic food, I think,
yes.
is that you kind of try it and see what happens.
There's not too many ethnic food tastes that I haven't really enjoyed one way or the other. But you added an egg there, was it?
I added an egg here.
You beat the egg up.
Yep, and now it kind of looks like your all-American meatloaf.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to get in there with your hands.
Nope.
It's the best way to do things sometimes.
It is. You get it all mixed, and you can feel it. When you feel it, you kind of feel a little bit of the texture all over. It looks like
Look
yay.
at that. Yep.
It looks like your American meatloaf. Okay, so I'm going to wash off my hands.
All right.
The cooking of the steamed wontons is best in a bamboo steamer placed over a boiling pot of water, which she prepared before encasing the meat mixture into the small square wonton wrappers and pinching the end with dampened fingers. Diana told us she preferred spraying the bottom with a vegetable spray, then lining it with leaf lettuce. This assures a non-stick experience. Cooking time about 20 minutes.
So your husband and you are fairly new to the area, aren't you?
We've been in the Mayo area only 3 years.
Well, welcome to the great northern part of the state of Michigan.
We're having a wonderful time here.
It looks like it. As a matter of fact, your husband is what, from Minnesota?
From Minnesota.
And you are from the great state of Illinois?
I sure am, from the Prairie State. My husband works for the Forest Service, and so we get to travel where it takes us. And so it also kind of exposes us to even different regional cookings. We lived out in Colorado in the area of ranches in buffalo and elk and all that kind of stuff.
The morning with Diana was truly turning into an adventure in cooking. Next up, while the wontons were cooking, deep-fried Vietnamese spring rolls. Ingredients?
Rice noodles or cellophane noodles. And cellophane noodles are bean thread, and rice noodles look like this. They're made with rice. They cook up clear. It has an egg. Once again, it has ground pork. We have shredded carrots in it. We have an onion in it. We have something called fish sauce, which is very common in Pacific Rim type of cooking. It's based on anchovies, but you don't want to leave it out because it doesn't turn it into fishy tasting, but it does impart something in it. Pepper, green onions again, and then the Vietnamese actually use something called rice paper. This is rice paper. It's thin, it's rice, it's dried on bamboo like yay.
Plastic.
And it feels kind of like paper. I mean, it really does feel like paper. If you can't find this, you can use egg roll wrappers. But egg roll wrappers, I'll roll some in egg roll wrappers, are zillions times thicker. I got these down in an Asian market in Saginaw.
Well, with ingredients in hand, you take those noodles and you soak them in hot water according to the directions in the package, and then you cut those into about 2-inch lengths with a knife or scissors. You take that egg, beat it in a large bowl, add noodles, pork, carrots, onions, fish sauce, pepper, and scallions. You mix them well. Soften those wrappers by dipping in warm water. Lay on a flat surface and put about 2 tablespoons of serving in the wrapper and roll. You roll them in the egg roll fashion, heat the oil over medium heat, and then you heat them for 1 minute. Cook about 3 of those rolls at a time until golden brown. That day, Diana also prepared a non-deep-fried vegetarian version with bean sprouts, cucumbers, carrots, cilantro, mint, green onions, and lettuce. And boy, was that good. The tasting, of course, wasn't complete without a dip and side sauces, which included a peanut sauce, a fish sauce, and a sweet sauce. The result was a most unusual and delicious taste. Everything was completed in less than an hour. What a treat from the kitchen of Diana Ericson of Mile, Michigan. Available to you now for your own adventure in Far Eastern cooking in Michigan Magazine's Family and Friends Cookbook number 3. Diana also has in the book more Vietnamese dishes like spiced beef with mint leaves on page 27, chicken with lemongrass and chili on page 29, and from Thailand, green curry on page 24. This cookbook is loaded with the unusual as well as traditional, thanks to people like Diana Ericson. Thanks, Diana, for being a delicious part of Michigan Magazine. Michigan Magazine is being brought to you in part by the Michigan-made rebounding mailbox pole. Never again worry about the winter snowplow taking out your mailbox with this ingenious rebounding pole. Your mailbox takes a hit and keeps coming back year after year. Call now or visit their website, toughmailboxes.com. Something special's cooking, hot and delicious. Indulge yourself at Morning at Maggie's in Bay City. Omelets, frittatas, hotcakes, and more. Make every day special with a stop at Morning at Maggie's for breakfast or lunch on Saginaw and Bay City. Clemix Sales and Service on Mapes Road, west of Mile, your complete recreational vehicle sales and service connection. Visit their beautiful showroom of new and pre-owned ATVs, lawnmowers, power equipment, snowmobiles, utility vehicles, and more. Clemix Sales and Service is also the home of the American-made Victory motorcycle line on display at Clemix on Mapes Road, Mile. Well, in this edition of Michigan Magazine, we made our way to the Thumb area, and it was just like riding on heaven. It was flat surface, a lot of agricultural going on. What a perfect place for a co-op here in Michigan. And this co-op elevator here in Pigeon is getting some world recognition. I mean, you guys are all over the world, aren't you?
That is correct.
Okay, we're with Pat Anderson of the co-op here in Pigeon, and let's just tell a little bit about the history of this co-op. It's got to go back a long ways because I see humongous elevators and lift trucks lifting beans and grains into cars and trucks. So tell us a little bit about the history. How long have you guys been here?
Since 1915.
Okay.
Actually, November 15th, 1915. A cooperative is basically farmers get together and the feeling is that if you can get together and unify, that you can do more together than you can individually. Okay. So there was a vision. Those farmers in 1915 had a huge vision, and I think today, if they were here, they'd be pretty proud to see that that vision came to reality, and it continued to grow, and we continue to grow yet today.
So the co-op is pretty much, I mean, everything is Michigan, isn't it? Michigan grown and produced.
That is correct.
Okay.
And it started here in Pigeon, Michigan. However, there was a lot of mergers beginning in the 1980s. So in the 80s and 90s, smaller elevators merged in with Cooperative Elevator Company, and so we took on more farmer base, and that's how we continued to grow.
Yeah. How big of farms do you handle? The family farms all the way up to the commercial farms, or pretty much?
It can be all the way from the 40 acres all the way up to the probably 7,000 acres.
That's the power of the co-op.
Yes. And sometimes people think that, you know, the small one might feel like they don't matter, but they do, because it's all of it together that makes it work. You need all of it, the combination, so we feel fortunate.
So how many co-ops are all together here now?
Well, actually, right now, let's see, there was a Ruth and a Sebring and Elkton, so it's a combination in a terminal. There's actually 4 elevators that came in to Cooperative Elevator Company.
Oh my, so what type of grains do you handle?
Well, if we look at our business in 2 separate ways, one on the actual marketing side that we call it, and then we have the retail side, which is more the agronomic side.
Okay.
And so when we look at marketing, we break it down in between dry edible beans and also into the grains. So we look at grains, we market corn, but we also have a relationship with Poet, and so we are supplying corn to the ethanol plants too.
Oh my.
And then we have white wheat, and that traditionally there's a lot of red wheat, but this area is very specific to white wheat. Soybeans, and those are our grains, and those go to specific markets also. Basically, what we try to do here is add quality, some kind of component or value-added piece, so that we have a quality market and that we're not just selling into a commodity market.
I see. So where do we see the grains and the products going from Michigan?
Well, basically in the corn segment, again, we have a relationship with Poet, so obviously that goes into the ethanol products, into that particular market. But there's also there's the southeast market that our corn would go to. Traditionally, our corn has been more a domestic thing, although we sell to some of the bigger houses that would take it and export it. But the Canadian market has also at times been a source of a market for us. When we get into the soybean side, there's also edible soybeans, and those do go to Japan for tofu. And on the white wheat side, you see it a lot, would be like in Triscuits and Quaker granola bars, those types of things. So they use a white wheat, and even though it says a lot of people think that the granola bars are more oats, there's a lot of wheat in that product.
So we're all over the world too.
Yeah,
in the United
more
States.
so on yes, on the soybean side, yes. But more so, the other piece of the component of the marketing side would be the dry edible beans.
Okay.
And that's where we see more of the world market. There's a vision for Cooperative Elevator Company, and that we base the whole premise on long-term relationships. And that be whether it's with our customers, which are actually the owners of the business, or whether it's our outside customers. That we feel that by having those long-term relationships that we can exceed everybody's expectations.
Right. I can tell you love what you do, and everybody loves what they do here at the co-op, because when we came to the door, everybody was smiling and greeting us, and we appreciate that. So we thank you very much for taking time, Pat, to tell us a little bit about the co-op and the history and some of the future, your whole concept and mission. And thanks for being on Michigan Magazine.
Thank you very much.
For home, medical, and healthcare products, visit Rose City Drug at 2640 North M33, just south of Rose City city limits. Rose City Drug has a complete diabetic department, including shoes. Serving Michigan for over 20 years. Rose City Drug, Rose City. Rose Valley Winery on Beechwood Road in Rose City. See what thousands are raving about, creating a delicious variety of award-winning Michigan wines. Stop by and taste for yourself. The taste of Michigan is yours at Rose Valley Winery.
Vacation. Don't make the planning of it more than what you're trying to get away from. At northernmichigancabinrentals.com, you can choose from over 2,500 cabins, cottages, lodges, resorts, lakefront vacation home rentals, and more. Whatever experience you're looking for, from rustic to luxury and everything in between. No more rustling with telephone books. No more endless internet searches. Just one site with over 2,500 Northern Michigan destinations. northernmichigancabinrentals.com.
Thanks so much for sharing your day with us. It's time to get back on those side roads for more exploring and documenting the amazing Great Lakes area. We're looking forward to a wonderful spring and summer. There's so much to discover. Now, it's time for this week's phrase of the week. The morels are poppin'. You know what to do. Besides getting out and grabbing a few of those delicious morsels, don't forget to include your name and address so we can get those Michigan goodies to you. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time here or online 24/7. We'd like to thank all those that help keep Michigan Magazine on the road. Cops and Donuts Bakery, downtown Clare, a winning combination. Cops and Donuts. Hingeman Acres Canoe Livery and Resort on M33 just north of Mayo, catering to the outdoor enthusiasts. Cabins, canoes, kayaks, rafts, and more. Daytime or overnight trips along the world-famous Asabo River. A family getaway for over 75 years. Experience the beauty, artistry, and taste of northern Michigan. Come to Amish Country Natural Products on Mount Tom Road, north of Mile, just off M33. From arts and crafts to fresh foods and vegetables, all natural, all local, all good. Stop by and get acquainted with Amish Country Natural Products, 1454 North Mount Tom Road, Mile. Introducing the Weed Gator. For safe and easy aquatic weed removal, the Weed Gator is the #1 alternative to harsh chemicals for getting rid of pond and lake weeds. Safe and effective. See it in action now at weedgator.net. Made in the USA.